Welcome to the world of stand-up. Hey, what's up, my friends? My name is Bryce Prescott, and I wanted to welcome you to another episode of Stand Up. As you might know, the tagline of this show is a show about life and laughs. And so I'm here in my studio. I don't have a guest this week for the podcast, but I do have some interesting things that I'd like to discuss, and I figured that it would be okay if I just sat here in front of my cameras and share with you some things that have been important to me that might help you, as well as some experiences that this week have illuminated in me the reality of things that we get to be better at for the sake of our own mental health and our own happiness. As you might know, the last couple episodes, I had Rodney Norman, I had Wes Austin, and there was somewhat of a theme in jest in those episodes about how challenging and degrading it can feel to be in comedy and to go through the process of actually like writing jokes and not knowing if they're actually going to pop, understanding that delivery matters, and then you go in front of a crowd and they don't work or they do work, and you feel that personal rejection. You internalize that rejection. Your joke was the thing that they didn't like, but you feel like you were the one that's being rejected. And I noticed that you don't have to be a comedian to have that be something that you experience. Rejection and the way that we control our emotions is a common theme in our world, and something that a lot of people get wrong, myself included, over the course of the years of being the man that wears the several different hats that I do, not just Dodger hats, but I'm a father, I'm a husband, I'm a business owner, I'm a friend, I'm a comedian, I'm a creative person. All these different hats come with this sort of invitation for me to take something that's important, to create it, to put it out there with the potential of it being rejected. And I then get to figure out how to handle that rejection. And like I said, I know I'm not alone in that, regardless of whatever hat I'm wearing, that you as a listener of this show could very well be experiencing that yourself. And so as I was thinking about what to do, and considering that the tagline of this show is a show about life and laughs. The laughs was secondary. The life part was primary. I wanted to talk about that. I wanted to talk about life today. I wanted to talk about what things I've learned, things I'm experiencing that might be of assistance to you. And they might be funny, they might not, but I ask you that as you listen to this, that if you indulge me and listen with intent, my hope and my promise is that you'll get something out of it. And that something will help you move the needle towards more happiness and fulfillment in your life. In order to do this, though, I wanted to create somewhat of a solution-problem type of dynamic, or dare I say problem and solution. And the problem that I wanted to address and focus on was a lot of people misunderstand the truth about how our emotions work and how much control we actually have over them. We are being told in our media and in our culture that it's your job to make sure that your behavior doesn't offend me. And that in that dynamic, that means that if I am responsible to not offend you, there's certain things that I have to pay attention to, there's certain things that I have to be mindful of, and that I get to navigate this sort of road in a way that makes sure that I'm not pissing you off, basically. Well, as noble as that may sound, it's actually an impossibility to really enact. And the truth that exists is that the control of our emotions actually lies on our side of the table. Anytime we're offended, on some conscious or subconscious level, we have allowed that offense. Anytime we've been happy, it's on our side of the table as well. We have allowed on our side of the fence, on either a conscious or subconscious way, the choice of being happy. So in a very remedial, raw, but powerful sense, the truth is that we have a choice about what we feel and why we feel it. And if anything, when those feelings pop up emotionally that we might not be able to understand or recognize in the moment, it's not so much that the thing or the person on the other side of it is to blame. We should look at it as an invitation to ask ourselves, what about this experience, what about this person, what about this comment irritated that part inside of me that had me feeling a certain way? The second that we can understand that and we take ownership of that, we take power over our emotions. Not that we don't feel them or that we don't experience them or that we don't even acknowledge them. Those are all things we are required to do. You're going to feel things. But when they come, that we look at them differently. We look at them as on some level, even if I don't understand where it was, I chose that for that moment. I chose that emotion for that reason, for whatever reason. And if I don't know the reason, I need to ask myself why. Again, the question I've been asking myself lately is, what about this experience irritates me? And what is it irritating? What is it pushing against? We control far more than we know. And in my career and as in several different things where I've been able to achieve a certain level of success, I've noticed that the highest level of individual, the most high-value people, have control over their emotions. They feel their emotions, but yet they do not let their emotions dictate to them their outcomes. They do things and seek things and choose things seemingly in spite of their emotions. And if you break that down, it's very, very powerful, because as I talked about in the beginning of my comments here, I wanted to talk about rejection as well and how a lot of us internalize that rejection. That feeling of rejection falls into this group of our emotions. It's a feeling. And so we have a choice to either feed that rejection, that feeling of rejection, or not. The reason why this is so prominent on my mind this week is I have to be real. It's been somewhat of a challenging week for me in a couple of different ways. I'm not going to give too many details, but this week I was accused of some pretty disgusting things. The short version is that my wife and I went to a party, and at this party there was alcohol, and the tone of the party was jovial and fun and laughing. And as a comedian, I like to watch people laugh. I like to make jokes, and I like to raise the energy of the room. For those people that know me, they know that it's very easy for me to be the life of the party. I'm out there just trying to make everybody have a good time and have laughs. And there was a certain individual at this party that was not receiving my jokes or my comments or the things that I was saying in such a way. And matter of fact, this person spun them into some ideas of their experience of me that are so far out of touch from the reality of what actually happened that it became extremely problematic for me. I was accused of things that were degrading to my wife, which were not true. I was accused of comments that were misogynistic and demeaning, which were not true. And I was accused of these things by somebody truly unremarkable. And so as I was faced in this dynamic with my wife of how to handle this event and these accusations, I was reminded, as I'm feeling this flare-up of rage, I'm feeling rejected, I'm feeling confused at how any of the things that I had said or done on that evening could be construed the way that they were. I realized two things. I realized the power in the moment that I had over my emotions to either feed these feelings of anger and sadness and embarrassment and rejection, or to understand that what was being levied at me was truly something in a very truthful and yet ironic way, something that had nothing to do with me. That's a difficult thing to do. Let's be real, right? I had internalized, have been, still in the process of it, that rejection, those horrible things that were said about me. I thought to myself, how is it possible that in the moment of those things supposedly happening, that my self-awareness was so far off that what I was doing and saying and joking with and being playful was twisted into this other thing? My wife had to deal with the same thing too, because like I said, some of the things that were levied about me were not very nice in relationship to my role as her husband. And it reminded me back as I processed it, I reminded myself back, and I realized as I processed it, I was reminded back at how, again, wherever we go, we take ourselves with us. wherever we go, we take ourselves with us. Everything. Every experience we've ever had, every time we've ever been hurt, every trauma that we have, it comes with us into the present experiences with people. And I've noticed this thing that's very dangerous that a lot of people do, is that they project an old experience with all of the facets of that old experience onto a new one because of a fuse or a small sliver of similarity that might exist in the new experience, and it casts a shadow that includes all that other stuff that has nothing to be true. I recognize that the person that had levied these things against me had some very destructive relationships in their life, that had been abused, had been overlooked. And so some of the things that I had said in jest triggered and irritated that part of their experience and their memories to think that I meant all of these other things when, matter of factly speaking, I wasn't even aware of that world that was being considered as a meaning for the things that I was saying. Well, why do I bring this up? Why is it important to talk about it? Not to air dirty laundry or anything like that, but it's more as a reminder. We create our experiences. Not that we're magically waving some wand and that we can step into some new reality in the moment, which is a completely different conversation, but that how we choose to interpret and how we choose to project creates an environment to which invites another experience like that. You know, one of the things that I've noticed over the past couple months and years, and as life has presented its challenges, is that a lot of people in this world, they live horrible lives, unhappy lives, and they're totally fine in perpetuating that same unhappiness by their own thoughts and decisions every single day. It's like that old thing where, stop hitting yourself, stop hitting yourself. Like people inflict all sorts of pain upon themselves by just not handling their shit. By not looking at their life and going, man, I don't like this experience. And then taking responsibility for their part in their own experience. Part of it's cultural, part of it's laziness, but we live in a world where we want to blame what's happening on other people. Well, this person did this to me. Okay. While that might be truly accurate, you still have a say in how you process that information, how you process that experience, how you choose to either let go or embolden or feed the fear. You create that experience. And to bring some of the other parts of my comments back, when you can control your emotions and when you can recognize, okay, in this moment I'm feeling this, what is being irritated about this? Why is it that I'm feeling this? You can really collapse the time of what it takes to actually overcome really challenging things. When you hear people talk about doing the inner work and that I've done a lot of work on myself and etc., that's what they're talking about. They're talking about taking the momentary experience of what they're having and what they're experiencing and what they're doing and asking, okay, so this is real for me. These emotions feel a certain way. I have a choice now. What am I going to do with it? What's my motivation? Do I want to sit in it? Do I want to perpetuate it? Do I want to use this as a way to show that I was wronged or that I'm the victim and get some attention for it? Or do I want to squash it because I know that in the end it does not serve me, and taking that into my future does nothing positive for me? These are questions you get to ask yourself. We absolutely lump together our past experiences and we project them onto our future experiences. And we will continue to do that until we stop doing that. Now, as silly as that sounds, we have to stop doing that. We have to stop saying, well, this happened, this means all this. Oh, this person cut me off in traffic. This person lied to me. This person cheated on me. This person, fill in the blank. We take that singular experience and we bring all this baggage into the future with it, saying, well, it means all this other stuff too. When, okay, if you choose it to mean that, great. But you don't have to. And again, The most high value, successful people don't. They control their emotions, they release them, they put things down that don't serve them, they acknowledge what's happening, and they realize this is either going to serve me or it's not, and whatever does not serve me, I'm out. Put it down. You know, I have to kind of share with you this experience as well, because having this happen this week for me, it really affected me. I care a lot about how people experience me, and I want to make sure that no matter the room that I go into, that I'm elevating the energy of the room. I'm a person that I love making people laugh, and sometimes when I make a joke, it might be irreverent, and that irreverence might not work for you, and that's fine. But I know in my heart of hearts that I care deeply about people, and I want to make sure that I'm elevating the experience around me to be something that helps other people feel more included, to feel happier, and just to enjoy it better, enjoy life better. And so being in this sort of space of feeling rejected and feeling uncertain about what actually happened and having these things come back the way that they did, it really affected me. And I felt heavy in my heart, this weight of rejection. And it triggered in me a thread back through my life of other times where I had felt rejected, where I had felt like people didn't care about me enough to continue to be my friend, or that I was overlooked, or that I was seen as somebody that was discardable. All the way back. I mean, I could literally, in an emotional sense, like feel the experiences lumped together back to one of the very first times that I felt rejected. A very close friend of mine, a beautiful, beautiful person, sent me a guided meditation to do in a way to kind of help unpack some of these feelings and to be able to release them. Because even though I was experiencing all this, I don't like it and I don't want to feed it. I want to overcome and I want to release and I want to be honorable to the person's experience that said that they had those with me and let that be their choice by allowing my choice to be one that says that's not real. Because I know the reality. I was there. And it wasn't anything remotely close to what was shared. So I did this guided meditation. And it was a very emotional and even spiritual experience. In the meditation, the person who was guiding it invited me to go back in time and to remember the first time I ever felt rejected. To, like, in my mind's eye, connected to my heart center, to go back and to really remember, when did I first feel rejected? And it brought me back to a time where I was in 8th grade. Now, to give you some backstory, when I was a child, my parents struggled with stability. I went to a different school my 4th grade, 5th grade, 6th grade, 7th grade, and 8th grade years. Every time I would go to a new school, I was the new kid. And I was attempting to enter in to friendship groups that were already established. When I played sports, I was the new guy that was under scrutiny on whether or not I would fit into the team. I was a young musician, the same thing. I had to prove my weight, if you will, every time I went to a new school. I was a handsome kid. I was smart. I was articulate. And so I experienced a lot of rejection. But I didn't understand why, and so of course I had internalized it. But even though I know I have had rejection before 8th grade, there was this one experience that I had that really stuck out. You know, being that I was a creative kid and a musician, I wasn't a part of the cool kids crowd. And because I wasn't there, I mean, it was a brand new school every year for every one of those years. In 8th grade was the first time that I was even adjacent to the cool kids. As an 8th grader, I wanted to be one of the cool kids. I wanted to hang out with them because they were cool. I didn't know why they were cool. It was just the cliquish nature of junior high school. And I thought I was making friends with one of the leaders of the cool kids. And I kept cracking jokes, trying to be funny, trying to be memorable. And there was a time where he rejected me. He was like, yeah, dude, that's not funny. And it kind of pushed me out of what I was trying to be a part of in that circle of kids. And I remember standing outside, and again, this is in my meditation. I'm standing outside of our junior high school where everybody was congregating, and I'm in this group of like 7 or 8 kids, and I'm one of them. And the main leader guy's telling me I'm not funny, and maybe you should just move along. And I felt that heavy weight, that personal weight of being rejected. And you guys know, at 8th grade, you don't know what you're doing. You don't have emotional intelligence. You don't have any sort of sense. You're just fumbling along. You're growing. You're in the middle of adolescence. There's puberty. It's just a rough time. And it hurt. It affected me. It affected me in a very real way. And so I, in this meditation, was invited to look at myself now and to go back and talk to that kid. What would I say to that 13-year-old now that would make a difference? And I remember this moment in my meditation where I go and I put my arm around my younger self. I said, kid, it's going to be fine. Look at what you've become. Look at who you are. You'll understand it. It'll be okay. And I had this very emotional moment in my mind, and it manifested itself in my body with the way I was feeling, and even in tears, where I felt this connection to this younger version of myself where I felt okay. The meditation continued. And it invited me to consider where I might be in 30 years from now. So I, in my mind, thought about, what would I be doing at 77? What would my best life be at 77? Who can I become? Like, and I'm in this sort of dream state of like this person that I've created to be. That's me. But 30 years of experiences, 30 years of growth, 30 years of successes. And they said, now, considering where you're at right now and the feelings of rejection and the feelings you're having now, what would that version of yourself tell you now? And it was very emotional because I envisioned this older version of myself telling me that I was very close to a massive breakthrough and that I didn't need to try so hard. That there was going to come a point here very soon where I would realize that just by being, I was good. By being, just being. And that if I didn't understand what that meant, that I would soon. And that was going to unlock for me everything I ever dreamed. That I would be able to let go of every feeling that I had had where I had felt slighted, or I felt like I shouldn't have been in the room, or I felt excluded from people that I wanted to be associated with, that I felt like I wasn't worthy of love or success. That it would all come full circle, and that then would be the newest and best chapter of my life to come. I'm having this conversation in a meditation with myself, and it's very emotional, very real. When I woke, my lovely wife was sitting next to me in the bed, and she could see that I was emotional, and she asked me what was going on, and I recounted to her the experience. And we had a bonding moment in that time where we realized that this is the human experience, and this is why I wanted to take a moment to talk about the controlling of the emotions by allowing yourself to choose into letting things go or to feeding fear or feeding things that don't serve you, is because there is a very real thing that each of us deal with, that you deal with. You either accept who you are or you don't. You either allow yourself to recognize in real time the greatness that you have inside of you and the capacity that you have to create something for yourself that is truly magnificent, or you don't. And it starts with that decision, that moment is a tower moment for your life when you can realize I'm actually great. I might have messed up. I might have not done the right things all the time. I might have done things that hurt me. I might have hurt other people tremendously bad through my actions and intentions. But all of that notwithstanding, from this moment on, I can step into a new place and a new reality that I allow myself to be a purveyor of greatness. And I see it and feel it in the moment. That's a choice too. So the reason why I wanted to share this and I wanted to take this time is for two reasons. The first one is I wanted to invite you to give yourself some grace. We're really hard on ourselves a lot. We fuck up and we think that has to now be a part of our identity and that we have to live with that scarlet letter of our mistake forever. We don't. Newsflash. If you've made mistakes and you fucked up, you're not special. You're like every other person on this planet. And as we judge each other, I want to remind you that just because my mistakes might look or feel or smell different than yours, it doesn't make yours any better or mine any worse or mine any better and yours any worse. Give yourself grace. The most important attention that you can give to yourself is the allowance of the surrender that you are actually able to be perfect. The human experience is one of trial and error. It's one of creation. And so we can create something new in the midst of the rubble of our stupid and horrible mistakes. And frankly, that's the point. Is that there's power in that. There's personal growth in that. And that power and personal growth creates beauty. The second thing that I wanted you to understand is that you have control. And if you can't see it, at least start by entertaining the idea that you do. Here's an exercise to start doing that. Next time you find yourself feeling an emotion that you don't like, whether it is you get angry for some reason, whether you feel hurt, whether you feel sad, whether you feel rejected, ask yourself that question that you heard me say earlier in this episode. And that question is this: what about this moment irritates inside of me? And what is it irritating? Why do I feel sad? Why do I feel rejected? What is this moment allowing me to experience that would give me new information so that I would be empowered then to make a better choice for myself? I know it got heavy with this episode, my friends, and you don't have to put up with me doing these type of episodes a lot, but I felt that it was important to address this because I know that as the people that follow me and the people that I really vibe with, they're out there trying new things. They're out there wanting to make their lives better. They want to be entertained. They want to laugh. They want to have life be good. But they carry with them as well this sort of little satchel of trauma, of shame that you don't show to everybody. And you can put it down. So put it down. Anyway, friends, thanks for listening, and I hope you got something out of it. If you did, please contact me, whether it's in the comments on YouTube or on social media. Let me know if there was something about this that resonated. Please keep the conversation going. I think this is incredibly important, that we remind each other how much control we have. We remind each other the fact that we have grace and that we should choose differently if it doesn't serve, and that we have all that we need to be able to do that. There's nothing that's not available to us that we would need to make our lives better. And as cliche as it sounds, if you're willing to do that, stand up. Anyway, friends,